Greetings and salutations, nerds. You're listening to Praying for Superpowers,
a podcast about the deeper meanings, messages, and intricacies hidden within nerd culture. I'm Peter Jordahl.
And I'm Trevor Sharon, and today we're talking about Keyforge and talking about our great hero, Stan Lee.
Moment of silence. Stan Lee, he's 95. So he lived a good life.
Yeah.
Not only that, he altered our world forever.
Yeah. I think it's only slightly exaggerated to say that he is the Homer of our time. He gave us new breath to superheroes and mythology, and even, Spider-Man and Captain America, Wolverine, some of these iconic characters that came out of his imagination have inspired so many. And just the beauty behind him investing himself into Peter Parker, and the story of how he told his life and his virtues through the Spider-Man comics is so cool.
And I know he didn't create all the heroes. He's not the mastermind behind everyone, but so many good moments where I feel like I've really connected with characters in the scene, in the comics, in the movies. Stan Lee's character appearing in the movies is always funny, and sometimes it's important on a personal level. And so I just it's gonna be rough, the next Marvel movie that comes out that he's not in.
And I think this to me is reminiscent a little bit of when Leonard Nimoy died. Because that was recent, and just thinking about some of the heroes of nerdom who have really pioneered aspects of what we love about this culture, and having them pass away, and the way that we can honor their memory by continuing to tell stories. And something beautiful about Stan Lee is he was so accepting of people. There were several videos circling the internet recently that are just of him saying, there's a place for you in Marvel, in this universe, no matter what, no matter where you are politically, spiritually, or sexually, or whatever, there's a place for you here. And that acceptance is really something that I think distinguishes nerdom. Is there's a corner of nerdom for everyone.
There's a new corner.
There is.
Of nerddom. So Keyforge is a new game. It came out, November 15th was its release date. We were at a pre-release the Saturday before. And this is a pretty unique game. And in fact, I think it's cornered the word unique as a game. The way it works, you spend $10 plus tax to purchase a deck of 37 cards. That deck is one of a quintillion different decks. No one on the planet has this exact same deck as you, right?
And they go to some pretty lengthy extremes to do this. So you're given a title for your deck.
And it's an Archon, which is like a being of power.
And it's written on the back of the cards and the front of the cards in the bottom. And your Archon, which is a little graphic on the back of the cards, is uniquely designed. And you're given a list of the cards that are in that deck with a QR code that you can scan into an app. And so there's no way for you to trade out cards.
You cannot deck build.
You can't deck build, which, Peter, you have a brilliant concept of why this might be absolutely brilliant for Magic.
So Richard Garfield is the granddaddy. That's what he's called in the gaming world. Card game, board game.
Is that really like his official title?
They call him the granddaddy.
That's awesome.
Which is, to me, is hilarious.
That's awesome.
He's a brilliant businessman. Magic the Gathering is great for a lot of reasons. One reason that Magic the Gathering is so great is you can build it yourself. You build a 60 card deck, put whatever cards you want in there, as long as they haven't been banned. And like every card is your own choice. You can spend $500. You can spend $2 million. You can go back and listen to our Magic the Gathering episode. You can build your own deck. It's solidly yours. It's unique. But the problem there becomes level of power.
Yeah.
If you want to get into Magic, you have to drop some serious coin to rival people at events, because people have been playing it for 20 years since it came out, are going to be flooded with cards worth thousands of dollars. What's great about Keyforge is you pay $10, you get a deck. Someone else pays $10, they get a deck, you play. There's no editing. You have to play at that level.
Yeah. The only editing you can really do is there's a big eBay market for it right now.
Yeah.
Where you can buy more powerful decks, but the game itself has a system to kind of nerf the power differential through their chain system.
Yeah, so two things. What they haven't figured out quite yet is how they're going to apply these, but basically you draw less cards the more you win. If you win 30 games in a row, you're not going to get to hold a hand of 6 cards. You're going to only get like 4, right? So they dumb you down so that you're not crazy powerful, and it becomes more about the luck of the draw and the skill of the play. And so where I think it's brilliant from a business standpoint is when players get really into Keyforge, which only costs them $10. Maybe they buy 3 or 4 decks, get into it, they get excited, and they keep losing. And then they think, well, if I go to Magic, I can build exactly what I want. And it's just, I mean, literally, you can love Keyforge and it's great and they get money from you and it's a brilliant business idea. Or you switch to Magic because it's different in a way that could feel better.
Yeah. And I think, so Peter and I had this discussion recently that I'm not the biggest fan of Magic the Gathering system or Keyforge system. I really like it, and I got really excited today when I thought about going out and buying my own Keyforge deck and having that be my own, and excited about the kind of cards that I would get and excited to play with it. But there's something about that gameplay that doesn't really appeal to me as a gamer. And what's nice is that Magic the Gathering has this really high threshold. It's complex. It's seen as that, at least. And you have to drop some money in order to actually be able to play. Keyforge dumbs it down the system just a little bit. It makes it so that you're not interacting on the other player's turn. Mm-hmm. You're just interacting on your turn. And you only have to pay $10 to be able to access the game, and you can access at the same level as everyone else.
Yeah.
Which I like that.
Yeah.
It's something that I can play with my brothers, and we've talked about this. This is your gift for your siblings around Christmas to be able to, we'll bleep that out.
They probably won't listen to this episode. So
great. Okay. And if you're listening, just act surprised. But I like that idea that there's a low threshold financially and in skill and understanding of a game.
Yeah. Yeah, they really made some wise decisions. Richard Garfield has actually been trying to build this game for almost as long as Magic has been around.
Wow.
He just couldn't. There wasn't the technology to build the quintillion different decks that were all unique without painstakingly building every deck yourself, which would take eternity. Yeah. Right. And so now the randomizing art and computer programming that they have gotten a hold of or created, I'm not sure to do this is available. Yeah. So,
and I see Keyforge going one of two directions. It will either become the next Magic, something that is just a cornerstone of nerdom in board games and card games.
Yeah.
Or what I think, and I kind of lean towards this at the moment, is that it's got a really fast burnout rate.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is everybody's excited about the interest of having a unique deck, and the eBay market's going to go crazy to buy decks. And we've even seen fluctuations over the past week and a half.
2 days. I've seen a deck on eBay for $200 and the next day it's $60.
And some of that is everybody's trying to figure out which direction this game's going to go.
Yeah.
But I think that this game has the potential to be a really quick burnout where You play it a couple times, you're like, that's super cool, and then you either switch to Magic the Gathering or you just don't play it very often. And you don't have as much interest in buying all the unique cards and buying all these decks for mass amounts of money, because if you're going to spend that money, why not just spend it on Magic cards this game or something else?
Yeah, I lean that way, definitely, that it is Dice Masters was a similar new game idea. I probably dropped $80 on Dice Masters.
That's a great game too.
It's a really fun mechanic. There were a lot of reasons that I stopped playing.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest one was I spent $25-$30 on packs of cards and dice. It's like a dice-based card game. Didn't get any valuable cards.
Yeah.
In Magic, you're guaranteed at least a rare in every pack. And you are guaranteed 3 rares in every Keyforge deck. And so I think it's going to last longer than Dice Masters.
Yep.
Nothing can ever replace Magic. I don't think Magic will ever die. Like,
yeah,
the color pie theme behind Magic, the brilliance of its creation and separation of power and weakness is just going to last forever, as long as people play games.
Well, I think one other thing that kind of makes me lean towards the side of it burning out pretty quickly is it's built in a really obvious way where you know that they're trying to make it into an online platform. And my assumption would be that they're going to use their app where you scan your QR code of the physical deck, and that gives you the virtual deck,
right,
which then you can play in the app like a Hearthstone game or something like that.
Right.
But
they're going to be better than Hearthstone.
Exactly. Absolutely. But the thing is that kind of cheapens both sides. You have to have the physical deck to play the virtual. And you kind of are encouraged to play the virtual if you want to play the physical. Like, it's kind of like playing 2 games at the same time, but not investing into either one the way they should. Essentially, just don't do 2 things halfway. Do one thing all the way. If they were to go just physical or just virtual, I think that it would have more potential than if they really are trying to go for both.
Yeah, and I can definitely see how that could become an issue with this game, but I do think they've thought of it. So a couple things I've heard rumblings in the nerd Keyforge culture is that at any event where you play an organized play, there'll be judges who will go onto your app, which you'll have to have, mm-hmm. and will mark your losses and wins. So if you play that deck again at a tournament or online, it will automatically, it'll power up or power down your deck. You'll gain a chain or lose a chain.
Interesting.
And so there's a little bit of balancing there. The one thing that worries me is that, like, if you could just go to a game store with 30 other people who are playing Keyforge and be like, all right, guys, if we all scan each other's decks, everyone, we all have all of them, and we all get the virtual points that unlock decks online.
Yeah.
And so, like, that worries me.
I think that, so when the game came out, I was really impressed with how they managed to make it non-customizable. And so I think because of that, I don't worry so much about the sneaky ways to get around things in Keyforge. I think that they've already thought that through really well. And they've done an excellent job of thinking through some of those things of how you can't customize. And the only thing that they can't control that's happening right now that I'm sure is not in their idea is the eBay market. But they can't control that.
Yeah, I think that it was a risk, and honestly, they're probably stoked about the hype going in.
Yeah.
So one of the things that happened with Keyforge is they used a random name generator, and some of the decks had not good words. So one of them was the Farmer of Racism, was one of the deck names. One was the German word for fox is Fuchs. It's spelled and sounds similar to a bad word that I will not say here. And it was like it was like Fuchs the Bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
And like, I think that was intentional. They say that, oh, we didn't know it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like random name generator. Oh, we're pulling the decks. And like, those decks are worth $500, like easy right now. And if this game survives the next decade, they're going to be worth $1,000.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I think that's a cool thought. And this is really a big struggle that I'm having with Keyforge is I'm so split between the two directions that it can go. Because if it lasts for several decades, owning a first generation deck is going to be so cool.
Yes.
If it goes nowhere, like it'll still be cool to have it.
And honestly, I like this game seems like it has a decent amount of playability.
Yeah.
Like I want 10 decks.
Uh-huh.
$100. That's a lot of money. But if I can get 10 decks, then for the rest of my life, that's a pretty solid replayability with others. Because that's a lot of different fights you can have. But yeah, I'm definitely split too. I'm like, man, but if this game goes nowhere, like none of my Dice Masters is worth anything right now. It's just garbage. Man. I looked on eBay at like Lord of the Rings trading cards. The best cards from that game are like $7.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Man, I had so many of those.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Dice Master is much worse.
Yeah, it is.
Because I forgot that game existed.
Right, you just totally left your brain.
And yet it was like, I remember playing it and it was such a cool idea. It was really interesting where you had cards and it was kind of like a deck builder, but you got a card and with it dice and the dice were rolled and you got different things depending on what was showing. Really interesting mechanics, just like Keyforge. Really unique. It had never been done before in this way. And they had superheroes involved and super cool.
Yeah.
But just totally disappeared.
Totally forgettable. Yeah. And so Richard Garfield is rich and smart and powerful enough that this game failing will probably still be somewhat of a success.
Yeah.
But
it will make him money even if it fails.
Right. One thing though, one of the Magic head designers at the most recent Comic-Con in California was like, I am currently creating cards that won't be released for 5 years.
Huh. For Keyforge?
No, for Magic the Gathering.
Magic.
So it would not surprise me at all if Keyforge has done the same thing.
Yeah.
There's currently 7 houses. Each deck has a combination of 3 of those houses. I would not be surprised if they release a new house into the decks every year.
Yep.
And then eventually there's 30 different houses. I could see that happening pretty easily.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me.
Well,
and
honestly,
that would keep me interested.
All they have to do to really recreate the game is to add 36 more cards.
Yeah.
Because that's a whole new deck. And I mean, that increases the unique deck opportunity. I think there's so many, and I think ultimately at the end of the day, I'm sitting in front of a crossroads trying to figure out, do I really believe that Keyforge is going to go somewhere, or do I think it's kind of just going to fall apart? And the fortunate thing is that I'm not driving. You are. And I guess as a consumer, I'm kind of driving that as well. But I am very interested to see where this ride takes us.
Yeah. I would encourage you, go to your local game store. If you're here in Colorado Springs, Petrie's Family Games. Mm-hmm. Cameron there, great guy. He's the owner. Pick up a deck. And if you grab a deck, grab some sleeves. This is first generation. So if the game lasts, this deck will be valuable. So, think ahead.
Yeah.
But grab a couple decks. The art is PG. Magic the Gathering gets a little dicey in some of its colors as far as how gross or adult themed the art is. Keyforge is comic book style, but simple comic book style, almost ironic in a lot of its cards.
Yeah. And I want to do a quick shout out to Petrie's because yesterday was Monday and as we're recording, and I went to Petrie's and they're closed on Mondays and I forgot about that. And so I was trying to find a Keyforge deck because I haven't had an opportunity to buy my own yet. And so I drove to the next place and they were like, oh no, we're all sold out. And then I go to the next place. Oh no, we're all sold out. So then I just start calling places. I'm like, no, we should get them next week. Oh no, we don't have them. And I think it's really cool because I know for a fact that Petrie's right now has several decks, probably more than just several. And so it's cool to find a game store that has its thumb on the pulse of nerdom and knows, hey, we should order a whole bunch of the Keyforge decks because this is going to be popular with the players that we have. They really know their community. And they're staying stocked on Keyforge decks while no one else in the entire city of Colorado Springs had anything for me in a decent mile range.
Yeah. Petrie's is closed Wednesday, Thursday, Thanksgiving week. Which was last week. But I kind of want to. I had a reason to say that. Now it's gone. So.
Well, now you know that they were closed.
Basically, hey, he closed his store for the holidays. What a nice guy.
What a family guy.
Doesn't do that.
Thanks for joining us today. We want to say again how much we respect and honor the memory of Stan Lee.
Yes.
And
I think he would have loved Keyforge.
Okay. I don't know him well enough, so...
it's random, but yeah.
I just think that there are heroes in our world of nerdom, like Richard Garfield, who are leaving a legacy in the nerd world, and it would behoove us to be able to recognize the mark that they're making on our world today while they're still around and can hear our thanks. And so go out and send some fan mail to the people that have marked your experience in nerdom and let them know that they're appreciated. They're humans too. They have emotions and feelings and doubts and concerns, and I'm sure that the Magic team and the Keyforge team are thinking about the same things we're thinking about. Is this going to go really well, or is it going to go poorly? Are people enjoying this, or are they not? And for us to be able to reach out and say, hey, not only do we appreciate the work that you've done, but we appreciate you as another person, I think is huge.
Yeah. That being said, we'd love to hear your appreciation too. We're humans.
Yeah.
So if you want to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, check out our YouTube channel on our website, prayingforsuperpowers.com. We'd really appreciate it. And let us know in our discussion posts which house in Keyforge is your favorite and your favorite Stan Lee moment in the Marvel movies.
Yeah. We'll catch you next time.